You ever get that post-meal slump or that sudden energy crash in the afternoon? Well, that might just be your blood sugar talking to you. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets to keeping it balanced, and we're going to do it naturally. We'll break down how some really simple tweaks to your diet, your movement, and your lifestyle can put you right back in the driver's seat. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to touch on why this is all so important. Then, we'll dive deep into what I'm calling the 3 pillars of control: fuel, movement, and lifestyle. And to finish up, we'll figure out your very first step. Sound good? Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics of what's actually happening inside our bodies. It all comes down to this really delicate balancing act. Now, the official term for high blood sugar is hyperglycemia, and here's a simple way to think about it. Insulin is like the key that lets sugar from your blood into your cells to be used for energy. Hyperglycemia happens when that key is kind of rusty or doesn't fit the lock properly, leaving way too much sugar just floating around in your bloodstream. So our goal here is to help that key work better, naturally. And getting this right is just so crucial. Think of your bloodstream as a busy highway. When your blood sugar is balanced, traffic is flowing smoothly. But when it's consistently high, well, that's like a constant traffic jam that causes all sorts of damage over time. This isn't about some quick fix. It's about making sure your long-term health journey is on a nice, clear road. Okay, let's get into our first pillar, fuel. What you choose to eat and drink is without a doubt the absolute foundation for managing your blood sugar. First up, let's talk about carbohydrates. Now listen, they are not the enemy. But since your body turns them into sugar, managing them is priority 1. And the real key here isn't no carbs, it's smart carbs. The goal is all about choosing quality over quantity. We're talking whole grains and just being mindful of our portions. And you want to know your secret weapon for managing those carbs? It's fiber. Seriously, think of fiber as the brakes for sugar absorption. Inside your gut, it forms this kind of gel that literally slows everything down. This prevents that sudden sugar rush and gives you a much smoother, more gradual release of energy. So what should you actually be aiming for? Well, here's a clear, totally actionable target. Experts recommend about 25 grams of fiber a day for women and 35 for men. It's a really simple number to just keep in the back of your mind when you're planning your meals. Another really powerful tool is something called the glycemic index, or GI for short. It's basically a speed rating for how fast a food will raise your blood sugar. So if you stick to foods with a low GI, that's 55 or less, it means they're digested way more slowly, giving you that nice, steady energy instead of those big, uncomfortable spikes. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it goes beyond just carbs and fiber. Certain micronutrients, like chromium and magnesium, are kind of like the support crew for your insulin. They help it do its job more efficiently, making sure it can properly unlock your cells to let all that sugar in. And hey, let's not forget these other super simple yet really powerful habits. Just drinking plenty of water helps your kidneys flush out any excess sugar. Practicing portion management is huge for maintaining a healthy weight. And eating probiotic-rich foods like yogurt and kefir can also play a big part in improving how your body regulates sugar. Okay, so we've got our bodies fueled up correctly. Now what? Well, now we have to put that fuel to work. And that brings us right to our second pillar, movement. You see, diet is only half the equation. How you move your body is the other absolutely critical half. Here's the magic of exercise in a nutshell. It basically makes your cells hungrier for sugar by increasing what's called insulin sensitivity. Remember that key we talked about? Well, exercise is like polishing the key and oiling the lock, so it just works better. This lets your cells easily pull sugar right out of your bloodstream to use for energy. And you know what the best part is? You don't have to spend hours and hours at the gym to get these benefits. This is where this brilliant idea of exercise snacks comes in. It's all about breaking up those long periods of sitting. Just a few minutes of movement every half hour or so can completely change your body's metabolic rhythm for the entire day. It's amazing. This brings us to our third and final pillar, and this is the one that really ties everything together. Master your lifestyle. This is where we look at the powerful and honestly often overlooked impact of things like sleep, stress, and weight. This is so important to understand. Stress isn't just a feeling in your head. It's a physical command to your body. When you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol that basically scream emergency and then dump a bunch of sugar into your bloodstream for quick energy. Now, that's great if you're, running from a lion, but it's not so great when you're just stuck in traffic. So managing your stress is managing your blood sugar. And that leads us right to this really critical question. Just take a second and think about it honestly for yourself. Because a bad night's sleep doesn't just make you tired. It messes with your insulin sensitivity and can actually make you crave the very foods that are going to spike your sugar. And here it is, the target. Experts consistently recommend that adults should aim for 7 to 8 hours of high-quality sleep every single night. It's not a luxury, folks. It's a non-negotiable part of your body's entire regulatory system. And improving your sleep doesn't have to be some huge, complicated thing. You can start tonight by just building a better sleep sanctuary. What does that mean? Well, a consistent schedule, even on weekends, cutting out that late-night caffeine, ditching the screens for at least an hour before bed, and keeping your room cool and dark. These little rituals send a really powerful signal to your body that it's time to rest and reset. And finally, let's talk about weight. Now, this chart shows something that I think is incredibly encouraging. You don't need these drastic, massive changes. The science shows that even a modest weight loss, just 5% of your body weight, can lead to really significant improvements in your blood sugar levels and your overall health. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So now, let's bring it all home and talk about what really matters. How do we put all this knowledge into action? This is where the real change begins. So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway from all of this. These 3 pillars, fuel, movement, and lifestyle, they are your complete toolkit. They aren't just separate ideas. They work together as this powerful, holistic system for naturally managing your blood sugar. And that leaves us with this one final powerful question. Look, trying to overhaul everything all at once is just overwhelming, right? So instead, just pick one. Looking at this whole toolkit, what is the one small thing you can commit to doing today? Maybe it's a short walk after dinner. Maybe it's just adding a handful of greens to your lunch. That single choice isn't just a small step. It's the start of a whole new direction for your health.